WrestleMania 37 is in the books, and Roman Reigns is still the Universal Champion. We're going to talk about it in just a second, so stay tuned. This is your WrestleMania Night 2 review. What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are talking about WrestleMania Night 2. This is the review show. A really fun night. I don't think it reached the heights of night 1, but definitely after a while kind of got warmer, and then we had an absolute banger of a main event. I'm going to talk about everything leading up to that main event in just a second, so make sure you have stayed tuned. And in case you didn't know, right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that's WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell as well, so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into it. WrestleMania Night 2 review. The show opened up with The Fiend versus Randy Orton. We learned this earlier on in the day, and I think we were all still kind of intrigued to see, are we going to get some type of special effects stipulation or something in this match? Because nothing had been announced. Randy Orton came out, sick looking ring gear, all white and that, with red and black trim. Maybe that was a little nod to The Fiend himself. We saw some kind of graphics thing, some package of The Fiend, the burnt Fiend, walking like through a tunnel and transforming back into like the first version of The Fiend, if you see what I mean. So we knew we were probably going to get him back. Alexa Bliss came out. There was a massive Jack in a Box by ringside, which she coiled up. And then we saw the Jack revealed to be The Fiend inside. He closed the lid of the Jack in a Box and he jumped from there onto Randy Orton in the ring. And the match more or less started from there. Jonesy in the chat, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well, bro. Just going to run down this card. Yeah, so we see this match started and The Fiend was very aggressive from the beginning, snapping necks and all that kind of stuff. Randy Orton kind of got some offense in, especially on the outside, that The Fiend was no selling, which I found really enjoyable because at this point, the guy's been set on fire. So, he really shouldn't sell anything, if we're being completely honest. Got back in the ring, there was some draping DDTs and all this kind of stuff. Mandible claw. And then when we saw The Fiend get Randy Orton into what was going to be like a Sister Abigail, we saw like all the ring posts, the fire jumped up, and on top of the Jack in the Box, Alexa Bliss was now sitting all in black, all differently clothed from how she came down to the ring. And she had this band across her head, which was like spewing out this black stuff all over her face. This seemed to distract The Fiend, and Randy Orton laid out The Fiend with an RKO and a 3 count and done. Now, this is someone that you just set on fire, right? So surely it shouldn't be that easy to beat him. 1. 2, surely The Fiend has to get his revenge, on his revenge on Orton. That's what I would think, but that doesn't seem to be the case either. Alexa Bliss has caused a distraction here, which has led to The Fiend winning. So it's left, and to be honest, at the time, it left me as well with a bad taste in my mouth, just thinking like, oh, what have they done here now? Like, The Fiend stuff is growing old. It's going to be very interesting because this is clearly not finished. How they're going to continue the story on Monday Night Raw. We've seen a lot of people online saying that, Alexa Bliss dressed in all black, sitting on top of the box, legs crossed. Is this kind of a nod to Aleister Black? Excuse me. Is Aleister Black coming back? Going to be paired with her? Aleister Black versus Bray Wyatt. That could be a thing. I think that would be a very good way to kind of reintroduce Aleister Black. Talking about nods as well, we saw a nod to Brody Lee in this match by Bray Wyatt. Obviously, I think this is the first match Bray Wyatt has had since the passing, if I'm correct. So yeah, that was a nice little tribute as well. But yeah, this match kind of left us all like, huh? Like, what's going on here? And not very happy. So be very interesting to see where they go. Yeah, Jonesy saying the same thing in the chat. Strange way to end the match, considering you would have thought this would have been the ending to a feud. Yeah, it is a bit funny, but I don't know. we will see. We will see how they kind of pick things up on Raw. I don't want to poo-poo it all the way right now, but we shall see. Next up on the show, we had a women's tag team title match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending the championships against the winners of the tag team turmoil match the night before, Tamina and Natalia. Um, this was an okay match. I just don't think it really kind of captured anyone's real imagination, captured the care. This was all really about, this was like kind of two singles matches in one. We saw like more technical prowess stuff between Shayna Baszler and Natalia, who I would say are kind of the more established wrestlers amongst these guys. And then we saw the battle of the powerhouses between Tamina and Nia Jax. Like I say, this was it was an okay match. I just don't think the interest level was particularly high. What I did like was that Natalia and Tamina kind of got their moments there. These are women that have been around in this division for a very, very long time, and often, you know, with the emergence of the women's evolution, the four horsewomen, all of this kind of stuff, they often get forgotten. They often get forgotten for how good they are. Especially Natalia. Natalia's a very good, you know, ring technician, trains a lot of these women and brings them up to scratch. So yeah, it was a bit it was a bit of a boring match because just, you know, I don't think it was kind of built well and all of this kind of stuff. In the end, we saw Natalia put in a sharpshooter on Nia Jax. Nia Jax wasn't even the legal competitor. Shayna Baszler slides in, Kira Fuja clutch, and Natalia, I think she tapped out or passed out, I can't remember. And yeah, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler retain, which I just thought, well, what was the whole point in this? I mean, people are allowed to retain, of course, but I felt like these two should have been, you know, they've held these belts for quite a while now. Give it to Tamina and Natalia, let them do something with it. But I guess that's not the plan. So it's going to be very interesting to see where we go now, because they've kind of faced, you know, or faced up to at least everyone that's on the main roster in the tag team. So yeah, where do we go from here in regards to these two and their championship run? We shall see, I guess, in the next weeks or so. Next up on the show, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Logan Paul at ringside. Sami Zayn cut a little promo before this match began to kind of introduce Logan Paul. We saw some more dance moves from Sami Zayn in the middle of the ring. This match, straight out the gate, we saw a pop-up power bomb. Everyone outside was chanting Logan sucks and stuff. As this match developed, we got a typical Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match. Very Generico versus Steen from their Ring of Honor days, you know, literally looking like they want to kill each other, kick their heads off, all of that kind of good stuff. Really physical, impactful match. Michinoku drivers, blue thunder bombs, like I said before, pop-up power bombs on the apron. Eventually we saw a haluva kick and a power super kick, from Kevin Owens, and then a stunner, which left Kevin Owens as the winner of this match. Logan Paul came into the ring and Logan Paul was congratulating Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn got the hump with him, basically saying that, you know, why are you congratulating him? That I brought you, you're my guest of honor. Logan Paul pushed down Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn left the ring, and then he went to congratulate Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens, you knew what was going to happen. He pretended like, you know, I'm into you and all of this. Yeah, I'll take your congratulations. And he went up close to Logan Paul and stunned him. And yeah, left the place as the winner of the match. Good point raised by Jonesy in the chat. He said, where was Reginald in this tag match? Very good point. I didn't even notice that he wasn't there, to be honest. But yeah, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, very good match. I think this is where the pay-per-view began to pick up. A lot of nods to their 2016 match as well. I think at Battleground on that night, Sami Zayn got the win. So on this night, Kevin Owens got his win back on the big stage. So really happy for these guys, you know. Again, like the Cesaro Rollins match we got yesterday, this was another kind of nod to Ring of Honor, like Ring of Honor graduates, getting some time in the spotlight. So yeah, really good match. And like I say, this is where the pay-per-view began to take a turn for the better, if you like. Next up on the show, we had the United States Championship match. Riddle versus Sheamus. interesting to see when Riddle kicked his flops off on WrestleMania. We saw seagulls come out of his feet, pirate seagulls or something. I don't even know where the reference is with these birds and Matt Riddle, but yeah, very physical match, just as we probably all assumed we would get. Sheamus has been doing some absolutely fantastic work, and like I was saying on a watch along that I was on, so has Riddle. So has Riddle. His character is very annoying. I 100% get that. His backstage promos and stuff like that is just jarring as hell. But when it gets to, performing in the ring, in between those ropes, Riddle is so good. He is so good. We saw a jackhammer. Obviously, he's got previous with Goldberg. We saw a jackhammer. Bro kicks. There was one little tiny botch where I think Sheamus went up top to try to do like a white noise off the top rope, and it looked very all dangerous, and he slipped, and no one was hurt, thank God. He ran up to the other rope as well and then dropped Matt Riddle with a knee. Um, Despite all of that, Riddle recovered and went to hit a springboard moonsault on Sheamus. Sheamus, time to perfection, brogue kicks Riddle in the middle of this moonsault, pins him for the win, becomes the United States champion. Like, we so often see this spot of someone just getting absolutely clocked off a springboard move, and it doesn't lead to a finish. So I was really happy to see that this led to a finish. Like I was saying in recent weeks, Sheamus has thoroughly deserved this this little push towards the championship, and then obviously now winning the championship. He's been absolutely fantastic in recent weeks. His stuff with Drew, I think he has had run-ins with Keith Lee before that. He's been brilliant. I say these last weeks. Sheamus has been brilliant since like summer last year. Like, honestly, it's getting up to a year now. Just fantastic performances. And not to take anything away from Matt Riddle, maybe they swing around to it, Matt Riddle wins it back and stuff. That helps build up Matt Riddle, as a more serious character and stuff. Maybe. But Sheamus deserves a little WrestleMania moment, in my opinion. It was really good, hard-hitting match. Jonesy says here that it was a great match between Riddle and Sheamus. I was shocked at how many kickouts there was from Riddle. Yeah, really good match. I think if this was for something more with more stakes on the line or something, I don't know what they could have done to take this to like a whole new level. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I think Sheamus is doing some great work. Right, guys, before we get onto the Intercontinental Championship match, please make sure you have smashed the like button. I thoroughly appreciate it every time you do. It does loads for the channel and lets more people see this video on their homepage on YouTube. So if you haven't already, I really appreciate if you could hit the like button. Thank you very much. It's the time, guys. Nigerian drum fight for the Intercontinental title. Big E versus Apollo Crews. Big E was wrapped to the ring, if you like, by Wale doing his entrance music. Apollo Crews came out, very big kind of grandiose entrance as well, somewhat. And there was drums at ringside, kendo sticks, all kinds of other apparatus. Oriental gong, which doesn't necessarily belong in a Nigerian drum fight, but hey. But yeah, these guys didn't kind of mess around with all of this kind of stuff too much, to be completely honest. This was a really hard-hitting powerhouse kind of match. Really fun stuff. This dive that Big E does through the ropes onto his competitors and they go hit the floor, like, honestly, he really needs to be careful with this. Like, he is such a big man to be just doing that. If that goes wrong, like, God forbid it goes wrong anyway, but like, yeah, I grimace every time he does it, to be honest. But yeah, this was a really fun match. We saw another tease and the slamming of the stairs, like what injured Biggie in the first place and stuff like that. Apollo sold a back injury, and then hit Biggie as well with like a barrage of kendo stick shots. There was a time when I think Biggie was lying on a table in the rope. Crews got onto the top rope, went for a splash, missed a splash. Biggie hit him with the big ending, and then out of absolutely nowhere, Dabo Kato, formerly known as Babatunde, came into the ring dressed as some type of general, maybe of some sort. Picked up Biggie. I think he gave him a choke slam, pulled Apollo Crews on top of Biggie's body for the pin. Apollo Crews is the Intercontinental Champion. It's been a long road, but ladies and gentlemen, he has got there with the help of Dabo Kato, Babatunde. I guess they're going to rename him again anyway because, you know, Cole or Corey Graves didn't acknowledge his name. They just called him a monster. Who is this monster helping Apollo Crews? So, yeah, I think this is good. I was speaking to Jonesy earlier. I think Jonesy said that he would have preferred just Apollo Crews to win on himself, but he's a heel. They want Big E to be this tough, strong guy. Remember that Big E's in the midst of a singles push as well. This is one way that Apollo had to win tonight. We all knew that. He had to win. Otherwise, you know, 4 attempts at this and no win, 5 attempts, no win, wouldn't have been good. He had to win. They've made him win. Non-disqualification rules. Dabo Kato helping him, giving him the assist. I think this is the best way to do it, to keep Big E looking good. And, you know, I'm sure they probably have some type of rematch or something. But this necessarily, you know, this frees up Big E to chase Universal title gold. This frees up Big E to possibly win Money in the Bank. Who knows? Like, so it'll be very interesting to see what they do with Big E now. But I think the story dictated at this point, Apollo Crews had to win, and he did. So yeah, I think even with the help, it doesn't take anything away. Looking forward to seeing Dabo Kato as his heater basically now. So yeah, really, really good stuff there. Excuse me. So next up on the show, we had the Raw Women's Championship match. Asuka, the champion, defending it against Rhea Ripley, who basically ran upon Asuka 2 weeks ago and said, I want your title. Give me a match at Mania. And Asuka obliged. So this was a very good match. Let me just start by saying that. The only thing that this was missing was a half decent story. And I say half decent because we clearly learned by Sasha and Bianca the night before, you don't even need a good story going into a WrestleMania match at this point. But because this was literally 2 weeks and now the match in terms of build, that is, I think, what was missing. There wasn't really like, yes, the title's on the line and that's a big stake, but it was missing that real kind of, you know, oomph. There was something missing from this to really capture the imagination. Fantastic match though. Asuka was brilliant throughout this match. Asuka was really good. Rocked Rhea Ripley many times with her kicks and her hip attacks and stuff like that. DDT from Asuka onto the floor, which Rhea Ripley looked like she took straight on her forehead. Straight on her forehead. That was pretty nasty, but you know, I feel like Asuka, especially like this match was a high stakes match. Obviously, she had a match last summer with Sasha Banks, probably with the title on the line. Asuka she takes it up several notches when she needs to, several notches. It just reminds us all why she is one of the best in the division today. There was a lot of submission holds traded between Asuka and Rhea Ripley. Asuka countered back with the Asuka lock, and she tried her kick on Ripley, and then Ripley kind of got out of the way of it, quickly got her in a riptide, put her down and pinned her for the win. So Rhea Ripley is the Raw Women's Champion, basically won it on night 1, you know, her first attempt at it. It was very necessary, following on from the last year since she lost the NXT Women's Championship last WrestleMania. She hasn't been herself. We've obviously heard podcast interviews with her, Lillian Garcia, and how things have been going for her. This was necessary. You know, this is a star has been, you know, kind of not, I wouldn't even say born, but we've been reminded of a star brought to the forefront. She is absolutely fantastic, Rhea Ripley, honestly, and someone different from the 4 horsewomen or the trademark blonde and blue eyes kind of person that Vince McMahon often kind of pushes in this division. She's very, very special. And even as she won, I was thinking, God, has there been another time, where the last people in the Royal Rumble, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, both win championships at WrestleMania? It's crazy. It's literally like a passing of the guard, you know. Sasha Banks, Asuka, these are kind of like older states women in this division at this point, and they've just crowned new kind of stars, if you like, in Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Really, really, I don't know if it's coincidence or what. The last two people in the Royal Rumble, the one that won it and the one that finished second, if you like, both walk out as champions at WrestleMania. You guys need to put down in the comments if this has happened before. I can't remember a time it has, but yeah, really good match. You know, these women tried, despite, like I say, not being very strong in the story leading up into this. Yeah, they put on a good match, and Rhea Ripley, looking forward to seeing what she does now in the Raw Women's division. Right. Last but not least, this was the match that at one point during this pay-per-view, I can't lie, it felt like I'm just staying up for this match. Like it became a slog at times, but man, was this worth it. Triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Daniel Bryan versus Edge versus the Universal Champion himself, head of the table, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. God, this was so good. Like, honestly, this match is up there with, you know, other triple threat main events. The Daniel Bryan one in WrestleMania 30, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Benoit. This is right up there. Hard hitting match. Edge got a massive pop when he came out, by the way. Roman Reigns, mixture of boos and cheers, like it has always been for Roman Reigns. There was a spots where Roman Reigns was throwing everyone out the ring, and Jey Uso on the outside literally laying guys out with super kicks until Edge hit him with an execution on the steel steps. We saw executions, we saw Edge-o-matics all night long, which was fun because you like this was like early Edge, especially the kind of these were his finishing moves, you know, when Edge first came on the scene all those years ago. So yeah, really fun to see. We saw a power bomb from Roman Reigns to Daniel Bryan through the announce table, if I'm correct. And then we saw a spear from the steel steps that Roman Reigns was standing on when he done that power bomb by Edge. This match, it then took a turn when I think Edge started getting chairs involved and stuff like that into the match. There was one point when Edge had Roman Reigns pinned. Daniel Bryan pulls the referee out of the ring. Like I was saying on the watch along that I was on, that this has become in recent weeks, especially, and certified in this match, very personal between Daniel Bryan and Edge. Roman is also almost like a passenger in this match at this point. And it's very personal between Edge and Daniel Bryan. And this was compounded when Edge hit Daniel Bryan with the concerto. Absolutely nasty. That was it. Daniel Bryan was done for the night. He was done. He was sleeping. He was done. Jey Uso got back involved, and we saw Roman hit Edge, I believe, with a spear. Before then, we saw Roman Reigns then give Edge a concerto. So now the two guys that have known head concussion, neck injuries, laid out by concertos. Roman done exactly what he said he was gonna do on SmackDown. Who caught that? Roman said, I'm going to smash you. I'm going to stack you guys on top of each other. I'm going to pin you guys. They're going to let off $1 million worth of pyro, and you're all going to acknowledge me as your tribal chief. Storytelling. Ladies and gentlemen, for those people that say WWE don't do storytelling, there it is. Roman Reigns is still the Universal Champion. I'm so happy because I never expected this to happen, honestly. I never expected it to happen. This is them certifying that this is the guy going forward, right? We don't care about who else you guys want us to push. Going forward, this is our man. Solidified top guy. Roman Reigns, tribal chief, yeah? It's brilliant to see. It's honestly brilliant to see. Like, since his return at SummerSlam, his pay-per-view matches, bangers. Absolute bangers. And I don't think anyone can deny that. The biggest Roman Reigns hater in the world can't deny when it comes to pay-per-view main events that he has put on since returning, different level. And it's his involvement, obviously, like I've been saying in recent weeks as well. Daniel Bryan was a key part of the level of interest in this story, because between Edge and Roman Reigns, they weren't really getting it right. Maybe that was because Edge hadn't got his edge yet, his heel turn. They weren't getting it right. Since the insertion of Daniel Bryan into this feud, this became very, very good. The right man won. The right man won, and I'm happy that I'm here, sitting at a time when Roman Reigns is still the Universal Champion, man. Just gonna run back because I was talking a lot. Andrew, thanks for joining us, bro. Andrew says Apollo, new IC champion with backup of Dabakato. He's putting Nigeria on the map for sure, 100%. Jonesy says strange to see Dabakato back in this spot. Hopefully Apollo gets a stable now with the two original soldiers in his new character debut. Yeah, I don't know if he necessarily needs a stable. Apollo needs to still develop himself. I think if he has any stable, it just has to be the soldiers. Just have to be that's like like J&J security were for Rollins, not like really out there competing guys, just there sort of thing. So and Dabakato is kind of probably going to be his almost. So I think that's enough really. Andrew says here, Rhea Ripley was the best choice. She's going to be a good women's champion for Raw. Yeah, I hope so, man. I really hope they actually book her well and, book the entire division better than they have been, as well as the women's tag division. And Andrew says, Tribal Chief on top of the WWE world alongside with Lashley is awesome. I think they got it right. A lot of their championship wins at this WrestleMania over the 2 nights, they got it right. They really got it right. And it leaves us in a great place. By the way, did anyone see this WrestleMania Backlash that is next month? Backlash is now turned to, well, it's probably just going to be a WrestleMania rematch pay-per-view. But ladies and gentlemen, WrestleMania is done. WrestleMania 37 is all in the bag. And it was good. It was a really good weekend. I've enjoyed it. Really good matches. Night 1 probably steals it for me. But the main event of night 2, fantastic. Up there with the best of them in terms of main events at WrestleMania. It's got to be. As well as the women's main event the night before. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. Was Roman Reigns retaining the right choice? Apollo Crews getting helped by Dabakato as well. What do you think about that? And guys, Rhea Ripley has now taken the Raw Women's Championship from Asuka out of that stranglehold. Hopefully we get a refreshed Raw Women's division. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up on your way out. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you